allowances to assembly members to strengthen local governance and service delivery. But Professor Stephen Moore from the University of Cape Coast in Chichi in Como Elho Ebia Ebiabri Blackus Prophecy or the entity. Prof, good afternoon.
No.
Nyamiadumo Akwabanso. Nyamiadum yewu pa. Mimda aye hot inti na men ho wadwe no bade. Ewiabria na wuja fose aba anti. Yenzi ko.
Nine.
Meji de bibia so yoboko.
Ndeda ya wo boy na. Ya genje hona ya genje.
Okay. Yeah, then me say. But then the budget no then I mean the various areas urban or the questioner the first interview maybe say no, does the budget provide discipline? Does it provide hope? Does it provide direction, fiscal prudence, balance and stability and growth? The monsoon spending priorities and social commitment, debt, deficit, and IMF framework. Does the budget present something like that?
I mean, state budget will be budget in India will be very hopeful. Don't for sure. Will be budget to be a budget or your budget ocean crown or your budget in there abandon wagon who the media or Kodua what stuff. Into a budget, I would say it's a budget also in crash sheba. If the media are there, a lot of issues on taxes, Sika or say Sika. Today, go forward. This is show we look to kum. Paido abano abano pede. Also, send the men's na the Mexican no. Onya ho akwenyana onya ho no tum ozo ye pontu juma e the men's wa oma nkwanshe bi there on check na yet budget dia or the izin nyamesum some no ba quotations the menina no mesin what the dada no but budget no or ya ga ba kanade the nyamesam bakawa na tum the dada nkofo but say bana bakawa some straight forward to the means ma we are force no ya them no ma bia hu odwene hu ye or the bibia to perspective, and then we look forward to the implementation of the budget. Budget men can carry the Africa being in a we are can for ata or can car budget baby or money first and there. But you know you need there. But it mean in case the Kofu Sika in Kofu Sika showing. Never be offend exchange rate no 17 nabi. But no but can was the quotations akan na ya yesu ebo yesu na boko chapel na sofufu bibi oyo wode there finance minister quote bible ama. But yen damen na yesho ho oda yeshe no kora our budget ni mun futuristic nyama our budget ni mun. And the what is currently at stake of a man or manano penny or fat no way may be a film my in sometimes you'll be about to want to music want to Marco Tressa but if a budget no there will you taxes the film or ye in the maybe no back of phone. Then you see that there's a real benefit to the individual. If the only if it's a budget here, a move for whom project you are boy, no business in the domestic in our couple. Yes, but it's also down on national service for the past 8 years. Why you and now for that, so work to come ways in free. oye sika so dem sika ni bimpo do oye the whole nursing training one allowances for almost 1 or 2 years. Na ebinu mo tun wo wie dem sika wo so wo no wo kwame na. Enti oye iwu there we can cut waste and the budget them na mu wo that amount no what no we there. You got to cut down our waste. And if we cut down the waste, the real money, the money really will come to the government. And that money can be used for many, many projects and many things that will benefit the society. And the only as the budget, the minister mentioned, okay, they are often waste, financial waste in the Ghanaian economy system or the Ghanaian system. And that is really, really very important because if you count the amount of waste, money wasted, let's say a public accounts committee, someone could do, that's the total, you wouldn't know. We are wasting a lot of money. And that money alone is enough to change our economy in a large scale. Sikana wama ni munankasa na orese na opposition wo kotokum wale for Dubai wale took down 28 na 50-80 so you tell me the Mexican we account for it and we truly get those things well managed. You need to back on you. If you don't budget it boils down to waste management, financial waste management and financial waste critical waste financial resources reduction. Shall we say port on summer. To the finance minister. Also, port on the economy, the rationalization of the import duties, which is very important because it could be a car, a ship to the agriculture there. Car need to move on 4,000 US. Now, if we are able to Ghana, no port duties will go to by 8,000. So there should be a way to rationalize all these import duties. Meanwhile, a corporate one finance minister or can I summon that? I say corporate one put here. So between 2020 and 2025, April 2020 to August 2025. There has been 525,000 transactions in imports. That amounts to 83 billion US dollars. But eco items but out of that, 10,000 of those were just import with no goods. I said that will be almost 31 billion. The what sure the way import the but the customer she saw the way they will imported tomatoes and I will imported done and I will imported shoes. But there's nothing there in the system. So this is a huge financial robbery of the state economy and state resources. About 76 billion. 76 billion US dollars a year can you US dollars a year can
yes
or your Ghana citizens some you US dollars and Ghana maybe say or 83 billion the yen mu 10 and I am if I 6 billion was in my hand. But meanwhile there are people doing businesses and transactions in Ghana and are not paying import duties. What one them to Abochina was about when you want for soon away. Nayamona, Brian, man more colonial. Koto as tomato Dibiampa was the task starting. But there are people benefiting, raping this country of its resources. And the corporate one here. I think the rationalization of import declaration form simple will help us really recruit a lot of money. I mean, I'm wondering them Accra Kumasi Expressway now. On the post there, they are good news. But it cuts down travel time. The motor mercy Cape Coast no more Accra, no 1 hour. Kwamena, you know about Cape ya pay Accra. Na ya yebi na ya make it ya di enwa anamibwa obia niwa iko Accra obisi Madina and so no bodu Accra office no or 2-3 hours obisi do wenya or the 3 hours or the bejuma or the 3 hours akweju akofie 6 hours. So if we have a good roads that can connect between Takoradi to Accra or 1.5 hours, Cape Coast to Accra, so about 40 minutes and now 1 hour. You know, I am cutting Accra. But not Cape Coast, you see mansions, you see mall, you see ABBA, now you are Accra, and that BBA very could. So those are things that this budget really captures, and this budget tries to on my young there. I able to my Zama Okolima, Boroboro, the Boro Yamayanka disease, Kawayanka disease, Kawa, the because we can cut down on waste, financial waste in the system, and use that money to develop many things. Obi say, hey, I buy this abaya oba oncheri so omboro she yanti do ko boro be about all the project be no je sika na wahin. Of course, yeah, about why a gold board is a lot of money that the government is getting of one yen cedino or stabilize the yen cedino stabilizer obi akota no di abrochiba no bo form yen will benefit. The reduction in the CD and the stabilization of the CD alone brings our yen ekawa amana kawana ordino because of the reduction in the Ghana exchange rate of the CD minti. Anonkote reduce kawa na yeze first na ka yeche sikana the kawa yeze so what chamobia wa Ghana nkobia odo tianu mubebe 50,000, 20,000 bino. See, I watch a corner. Obia Botia, fund 8,000, 9,000 bidam. And so, only get from the forex exchange. Into your azar or your plan or your strategy to reduce cost and to pay off your debt. Because the kawa work on another so quickly that are motivated now going. So these are things that we should see in this year's offended budget. It can be what to say 10.4 billion and Kofa finance ministry there abandons the one account. What is received abandons the account finance minister can 686 billion Ghana cedis. Now what's up there? 68.6 billion. Now what's up there? Abandon the kawa old tier one. Now, what question below? What should them say? Receipts na nkofon them was happening in ano. After 10.4 billion, or rejected claims, rejected said one what about the 2 billion. What's okay? About Bano, also 2 billion. The cover banayan for receipts, for documents, and them are turning in a to mean cover back. Who receipts? What receipts now? Receipts, what the mama and name is the free. Those are money that people are just going to government to claim. 10.6 billion of rejected claims, such as in can afford it while you canana. No, I can't give them city was actually one there. Ya my bank. Mr. But a question was about 8.6 billion Ghana cedis of those monies are under review. They are reviewing those things. Actually, Obi incorporated wants to cover what's about the account to work from there on the 8.6 billion. What's okay? You must show. What you show me, if you show me simple, if you show me now, if you are documents on your adequate. This is I forge documents, some of that. So there are a lot of waste and theft in the system. Politicians na one yankofu na webuchafo wasi shafts na one year don't want to one or actual receipt to go na wazeko waka the 1 billion as woko to kum. Now what the name of the So these are things that I think this budget highlights that in terms of the budget, and the crown on your only them in Sika or sell or man move opposition work to come. I yes that who real value in the economy. If government can recruit all those money, yeah, all your better, yes, Sika so, bread. Oh, so there are a lot of benefits that this budget highlights. But I mean, there are reduction in the waste in the system, and accountability for funds that have been released for people, and people just siphoning these funds. So these are really critical for that. The other part of construction going on, big push, abandoned all any big pushes. Prof,
this tax reform, see, I mean, the abolition of COVID-19 levy and then other tax area, we are about to lose 5.7 billion Ghana cedis. How do we fill that gap?
Yeah, so it's been a comment, I'm making. Just looking at the import declaration forms. The import declaration forms alone, the amount that is lost in import declaration forms, about let's take the amount which is no goods in quoting 31 billion. People have just gone to fill out import declaration forms but didn't bring in any goods. On 31 billion money that have been taken out of the system. Isn't that money far more in excess of COVID-19 5 billion Ghana cedis every year? That is real money. Our Ghana and Confucius assistant one Ghana call. They did I mean at the pra what we can offer him for 1 year was okay. We don't even know. But they have filled out forms of 31 billion Ghana dollars. So dollars. $31 billion. So you can index because cities more. Or 310 billion of billion Ghana cities. Oh, that COVID-19 5 billion every year. More than 60 times. Actually 60 years. There's 60 years COVID-19 in quoting, they're able to recover them. No good money that has been stolen in Ghana or that has left the system. So there are serious issues are already abandoned or shall not close them look to know. Into import duties, import declaration forms alone, I'm sure government sees that the import declaration forms simple here in Kotia. Because you been getting poor so them COVID-19 because and then let's even look at Sika advance 10.4 billion of rejected claims. People are making claims of that's even more than 1 whole year, 2 years of COVID-19 tax reform. So why would you bother the everyday person for 1% or 0.5% taxes on them? Look at the hotel here. What is your COVID-19 tax? The COVID-19 after COVID-19 or reparation area or reparation money for government. We've gone past COVID-19, so government should have even cancelled COVID-19 way back. It was the previous government made bad behavior. Only not the COVID-19 was a show. Even that when they were passing it, we made noise. Some of us made noise that I don't want to on Brandon on yet because it doesn't give a deadline, which was very deliberate. They didn't put deadline there so they can just push it. It's about when we move out here that simple your money in our pocket. Money in our pocket. The quarter BBR 1% now since I done 1%, Abasho Bialu Kotokum. So those are really, really important things. And the money personally I think it's a big picture, as in the money is being lost on COVID and COVID taxes and all these e-levy, and all those things are so marginal are so marginal there. The one we are supposed to be angry about is what you either who only ye it's on normal for the years to can also kono. In them no them import declaration alone is far more bigger money for the whole country's benefit. It will take care of our free education and even free university. Now we can all benefit. But people are just taking it away. This is 31 billion money that is already left. And then there's already a 76 billion also, which is underdeclared. So, obi the car biba, car now, or then can tax 100,000 and now what you 5,000 a month. No, I am no, underdeclared. So, if all those things are rationalized and properly calculated and dealt with, there's a bit of restoring accountability. And for me, this is what this budget, the lessons we should all see that, hey, if you listen to these monies that are being lost alone, it's enough for us to just not go and borrow money from anybody. So restoring accountability in our financial sector in Ghana is really critical, and for that, Dr. Kezilato Forson has done very well. And he's seeing the real traces of where the monies are going and going after those things. And Tiboa also, Yabama University first year 2000 cities was Amobia. And you can see that if you calculate that amount of money you are going to pay to nurses training college, and you see that compared to your import declaration for this amount is peanuts. You will do it and move on. So those things that
so then it means if we can cut waste, we can the citizenry can benefit a lot from the government.
Oh yes. No, I personally, it's a public account committee. Obi ọtí na mi ṣe ọtí public account committee di ọba ẹ gbogbo efu na nkasa wọn kẹdẹ asọmọ ọmọ ti di gbogbo efu paa anadẹ adé àwọn kọdún ọmọ ayé ni ọnyẹ krakrakra obi a ọba kẹdẹ ọtí public account committee a ọnu lẹyìn ajé paa na ọjẹ fọlọ ọnkadà náà wọn. So there's a huge amount of waste in our country from the MMCD, MDCs all over to ministries, to hospitals, everywhere. And this is what we can really restore accountability, reduce this waste, and get those monies to buy the equipment and the tools for our hospitals, for our schools, and rebuild our schools and rebuild our streets and all that. Every week they are more complicated for Accra. The road you want to me Yamana. I care about your border. Why road? Why DB Papa? You have to call your water here.
Okay.
So reducing the waste, restoring accountability, and ensuring the proper rationalization of taxation. More on the today about what Chinibia, not with the 1% Abaka water tax, so about what Chinibia with the 2% about 2 those are not realistic financial thinking. I said I already engage you. The easy ways out, and we can see if we restore accountability in our system. I'm BB changing there or your youngster. I can get able to my.
All right, probably you call a hadina. If in Sinyami Monday, I believe the Abia Monday will get you here. But you share the energy sector. Also, construction of 1,200 megawatt state-owned power plant. Mr. Speaker, in the medium term, a total of 150 million standard cubic feet of gas per day will be produced by our OCTP and Jubilee partners, enough to generate up to 1,200 megawatts of power. Beginning 2026, government will commence the construction of a 1,200 megawatt state-owned thermal power plant to offtake the additional 150 million standard cubic feet of gas per day from the OCTP partners and GPP2. How do you also see this move? I mean, shoring up our energy sector.
Yeah, I mean, until crying, officials, that do so, abandon on for the kind of cry. I mean, starting to last year, whatever. Another 2 years ago, after what you do, see, doom so, and I'm doing that. So there has been a certain depth, lack of power, accountability and generation in the country. And that is why we need a consistent power supply and a way that we will be able to ensure that you have your power. Akosombo ne capacity. Akosombo dam ne electricity capacity ho ne yade to the aban opede oil CC ahia Akosombo ne electrical capacity na or generating oil 912 megawatts. Akosombo. It is a yesterday about or 1,200 megawatts. Consider a huge project. It's a very huge project that the government wants to embark on. And electricity, is very important. In fact, everyone said that I would be our legacy. But honestly, at some point, minimum was maybe Cape Coast have a baby and our central region have baby. But only another time for another discussion.
Okay.
But Amano, what's what 1,200 megawatts. This is bigger than Akosombo, amount of megawatts coming from Akosombo.
Yes.
And this is going to be a huge boost in economic impact. Not just impact economically. And this is really important that we should think about it. Of course, the kind of energy supply more obviously a ponodono.
Car power.
Car power. You can car power. You can see Ghana. Tamahabo. They unproduced electricity, man. All you know, what was it for Kumasi baby. Also, they are transferring it.
Why transfer Kumasi?
They transferred one of the plants or so to somewhere in the Ashanti region.
Yes.
So, car power came as a boost or as a plug-in for when we started having Doomso somewhere in 2014 thereabouts, before 2016 election, when we were having Doomso thereabouts. When car power came in and provided a huge amount of about 450 megawatts of power to help us with our electricity in Ghana. That we thought was even temporal. When the previous government took over, he said there was a lot of waste, about 500 million that they had to pay every year for energy being generated but not being used. So we went to Wasuma Ejako, don't negotiate, and Sandy Bahoma, and see what Ejako Ministry of Energy. So there's a history of electricity generation in Ghana, and periodically we experience these powers because our population keeps going up. And if we are planning for industrial move and industrial shift, where we expect a lot of people to establish companies, factories in the industries, then we know that electricity generation is going to be a huge issue. The government, I think, is foreseeing a future of industrial revolution and industrial push. So 1,200 megawatts of state-owned thermal power plant is a good idea for electricity supply. That will mean that we will be, in the long run, we will not be experiencing doomsday. Even if there should be a problem with Akosombo, we will know that 1,200 is already available to fill in all those plots. And I feel personally that Ghana no yɛ problem ankasa usually ɔyɛ electricity generation issue ɔyɛ electricity distribution issue nkɔfo no wia electricity no and there are ways by which we can actually check monitor and able to check and detect where electricity is being stolen. Those are things that we need to think about. How can we control theft of electricity, theft of water? There are technologies and techniques how we can use to really monitor and control and reduce all those things in the system. And that will mean that there's money for the government. That will mean that there will be good education for our children because the money will be converted to schools and hospitals and other social amenities to help relieve us of all our troubles. And the electricity do so. If government is making efforts towards establishing 1,200 megawatts, this is good news, and we should all be happy. So, Otumi na Osiwa, the same number of people employed in Akosombo, there will be more people even employed in that power government-owned power producing company than even what we have in Akosombo, and that will mean a lot of jobs for everyone, for all of us.
Okay. Prof, nyanda but nyami aduma mandi eboshe oye other sectors no. In fact,
Monday radio.
Mati. Ya da si bebre. Na ya baba so abeji ya ni titi na kuntunu so ai.
Oh, me ba me pisi bakawa mo.
Dai.
Me pisi bakawa mo.
Prof, ya da si ba ya bre.
Okay.
We say yanye Professor Stephen Moore from the University of Cape Coast. Earlier on, yanye Dr. Anoma from Kumasi Technical University, senior lecturer. Also, yanye in Komo.